From that game, let's get to a second commentary match off this afternoon. It comes from Paisley, St Mirren home to Celtic with Danny Lennon and Alistair Lamont.
Thanks, Kenny. We're inside the first minute, and here's Dyson Maida with the first chance of the game, and a goal! Celtic in front inside 60 seconds, and as Dyson Maida in off the right, picked the ball up inside the penalty area and knocks it past the goalkeeper. Zach Hemming couldn't keep it out. The perfect start for Brendan Rodgers' side. St Mirren 0, Celtic 1.
Yeah, listen, they get kick off, they knock the passes around for a couple of minutes, and eventually they get a ball into that area. It was a ball played in behind the wing back as such for Maeda just to get in. It was an easy goal for him. All he had to do is concentrate on the finish, but to put Celtic in an incredible situation right at the start of this game to build on what he did obviously against Rangers. This will take the pressure right off them, because they've found it difficult down here in this pitch stadium over the years, but to get off to such an incredible start, that is real positive stuff from them.
It's not the start that St Mirren would have liked, Paddy. It's very much uphill. They've got to play themselves into the game. You could see right away their intent is try and stop McGregor getting on the ball. The ball's forced into a wider area. It shifts the attack, and then they're caught down that far side with a lovely ball in between Taylor and Tanzer, and Maeda making a great run in between, and what a lovely finish.
Third goal of the season for Dyson Maeda, and the absolutely ideal start for Celtic, but quite the opposite for Stephen Robinson and his men, who would have hoped to play their way into the game, and frustrated Celtic. But Celtic with that early opener, and that will settle any nerves in the away end. And it's Celtic coming forward once more through Luis Palma down the left-hand side. It's a Celtic throw-in, but under a minute gone when Dyson Maeda scored that opening goal. And Celtic looking good in these opening exchanges.
Yeah, what you don't want to do is lose an early goal to a team like Celtic. Now they're in, and their confidence is high. They're knocking the ball around. Now it's about St Mirren trying to get a touch of the ball.
I mean, you can see right away St Mirren now getting pinned back to a 5 there, and that's given a lot of work for the midfield 3 to get out. It's given Taylor Johnson a lot of time in the ball, and with the creativity, the movement of Celtic in the middle, it could be a long afternoon.
Here comes St Mirren, their first foray forward. It's gone over on the left-hand side. Maeda tracking back, and it's back now with Tanzer onto the halfway line to Taylor. Tries to come forward for St Mirren. Kiltie will give chase down the left-hand side, but across goes Nawrocki, who just slips and allows the ball to go out for a throw-in down near the corner flag. Nawrocki, the only change to the Celtic side that started against Rangers. Of course, he came on in that game for the injured Stephen Welsh, and he's in place of Welsh from the start this evening. St Mirren with 3 changes from the win over St Mirren, with neither Bacchus nor O'Hara in the squad at all. O'Hara a particularly big blow. Jameson on the bench with Flynn, Boyd Munce and Olasanya coming in. Here's Richard Taylor with a throw-in, a long throw-in to the Celtic box, comes off Nawrocki and helped clear by Bernardo, the man who opened the scoring in that Old Firm game. And out for another throw-in, an opportunity here for Taylor from the left-hand side for St Mirren to launch this into the Celtic penalty area, as St Mirren look for a quick response to that early goal that's gone in from Dyson Maida. It's on by Mandron. Can St Mirren make anything of it? It's kept in by Olasanya, left-hand side on the byline. He slips, and it's out tamely for a goal kick to Celtic. And with just under 5 minutes on the clock, it is St Mirren 0, Celtic 1.
Yeah, I think St Mirren have just got to settle in. The pleasing thing for them is that they've got 86 minutes still to do a lot of work, but also play themselves into the game. Boyce, Munch that's come in there along with Flynn, Kiltie, good passes of the ball. So let's see them play themselves. And the pleasing thing, if you're ever going to lose one, you lose it early. That gives you. And the biggest thing, the mentality St Mirren now is being brave and still sticking to the game plan, what they're prepared for.
Here they are in possession. It's captain Marcus Fraser playing at right wing back, crossing the halfway line, looking for Flynn. But McGregor cuts it out, and Palma knocks it back to Scales. Midway inside his own half, he's just caught there by Mandron, but play allowed to continue as Scales gets the pass off to Johnston, and then out to the right-hand side to the goal scorer, Dyson Maida. Into the feet of O'Reilly, and now back with Johnston. Midway inside his own half is Nawrocki, plays it to Scales, crossing the halfway line and out to the left-hand side to Palma. Palma coming forward, slots it through into Bernardo's a lovely turn, just nudge it to his side. Big chance for Celtic to score the second, and indeed they have it. Matt O'Reilly arriving to collect the pass from Paulo Bernardo, and with just 6 minutes on the clock, St Mirren in disarray, but Celtic, a superb move from the left-hand side and finished off by Matt O'Reilly. It's St Mirren 0, Celtic 2.
A superb goal from Celtic, combination of passes all the way back from the back up the left-hand side, and when the ball was played in Bernardo, he opens up his body, gets in, beats the tackle. It looked as if he was going to strike initially, but he just out of the corner of his eye, he sees Matt O'Reilly to his right, and he just bladed into his path. He took a touch and squeezed it underneath the goalkeeper into the middle of the net to put Celtic 2-0 up. Really, really good goal.
The movement from Celtic's front players is exceptional. Fantastic running, drawn centre backs, goggage out, and really exploiting that centre of the area. But the amount of bodies that a Celtic get forward as quickly, the energy and the way that Celtic have started, is absolutely incredible.
Yeah, Celtic absolutely purring here, and 2 goals to the good in the opening 6 minutes, and all of a sudden those losses to Kilmarnock and Hearts seem like a distant memory. In terms of the performance from the off here, it has been outstanding from Celtic, and St Mirren haven't got out the blocks at all, and already it looks like a sense of damage limitation here for the home side, and they have given Celtic a hard time, not least in the 2-0 victory, the only time Celtic lost in the league prior to the title actually being won last season. It was a huge victory for Stephen Robinson over Ange Postecoglou at the time, but well, certainly the absence of the likes of O'Hara, Danny, it's a huge blow, and this is not a strong enough St Mirren squad that can necessarily deal with that kind of absence.
Yeah, it's a massive blow. O'Hara out, Vakis away in international duty, 2 big players. O'Hara, is a real goal threat, makes good positive runs, likes to get on the ball. And the last ball there, St Mirren have got to give themselves a wee breather. Fraser plays a ball, gets Celtic turned a little bit, and just to give themselves a wee breather up the pitch a wee bit. But what they've got to do when they do have the ball is handle it a lot better and take care of it.
Here's McGregor on the edge of the area as Celtic look for a third. And yeah, you did hear that right, only 8.5 minutes played, but Celtic are already looking for a third. Brilliant start to the game with Maida, and O'Reilly with his 10th goal of the season, drawing level with Kyogo. It's a 10th goal in the league for O'Reilly as well.
It's an incredible return for a midfielder at this stage of the season, with still almost half the season to go. But he gets himself into great positions, as Danny said earlier. With Celtic having lots of control of the ball, when they play those high midfield positions and mixing up their game, coming short, getting on it, but also running in behind.
Yeah, if you look at Bernardo and you look at O'Reilly, playing...
Here's a chance for Kyogo for the third. It's a good save from Hemming. The offside flag goes up, and it would have denied Kyogo if Zach Hemming hadn't been able to do so. It was an instinctive shot from Kyogo, and Hemming made himself big and stopped the shot with the offside flag up. It will be a free kick to St Mirren, but already they are 2 goals behind, and it could so easily have been 3.
Yeah, I was saying, Pat, as Bernardo and O'Reilly, they pick the ball up in behind Munce and Flynn in the pockets there, and it really becomes a 5 attacking up front there, and it really, really causes the 3 centre backs of St Mirren a real problem.
Here's Fraser on the halfway line under significant pressure from Taylor and Palma. Palma picks up, and I think he was going for goal there, but it was a poor effort if he was, and it's easily gathered by Hemming, who immediately bowls it out to Tanzer on the left hand side. But St Mirren have got to recover their composure and try and somehow build their way into the game as Taylor goes back the way to Hemming, who launches it up towards the halfway line, flicked on by Tanzer. Nawrocki's there with a header. St Mirren pick up just inside the Celtic half, played forward to Olasanya down the left-hand side. St Mirren will know that if they can get the next goal in the game, they give themselves a chance, and it's Olasanya getting to the byline but into the side netting with the attempted cross, but a bit better certainly from St Mirren. A bit of a attacking movement from them, but Olasanya couldn't wrap his foot round the cross, and it's a Celtic goal kick which is already taken. St Mirren 0, Celtic 2, with
the transitions of Celtic are incredible. You know, I was coming along here tonight and I'm saying, can they carry on where they left off in the Derby game? And their pressing and their intent on the game right away, you know, is there to be seen.
And here's Maida again, right hand side, looking for Kyogo, but Zach Hemming able to cut out the attempted cross. But all of a sudden, Packy, the belief that's coursing through those Celtic players is, you know, it's night and day from what we saw, as I say, those defeats against Kilmarnock and Hearts. It is night and day, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It's an intensity with the ball. There's an intensity off the ball. Even when they lose the ball, they're closing down the St Mirren players in groups and the collective, and they're winning the ball back, and that's giving them total control in the game. That little chance for St Mirren high up the pitch, Olasanya getting into a really good position. He took on Nawrocki down the left-hand side, and I think it was a poor cross. He had an opportunity, and it looked as if he had a wee bit of pace on Nawrocki getting in behind him, and he's got to do more of that.
Yeah, he's certainly quick, Packy, so he is.
Palmer looking for a way through, but he's fouled at Ryan Flynn there, and St Mirren get the free kick. 12 minutes played. St Mirren 0, Celtic 2. Celtic looking to reopen that 8-point lead at the top after Rangers' victory earlier on in the afternoon, and after this game Rangers will still have the 2 games in hand, but do look like they will be going into the winter break 8 points behind the defending champions. Brendan Rodgers standing at the edge of his technical area applauding his side, and no wonder the 2-goal advantage. Scales just a momentary lapse in concentration. Olasanya again showing a good burst of speed and gets the shot off again on the left foot, but again he drags it wide of Joe Hart's right hand post. But just a warning there for Celtic that despite the 2-goal advantage, they can't take their foot off the gas.
No, that pace is you know, what and Danny has alluded to from Olasanya. It will create problems, and especially Nawrocki, who hasn't been playing a lot of games. This is only a second game, a second start really, and he's been out injured, so you can imagine that he's not quite up to speed yet. So that could be an opportunity. St Mirren really need to get themselves back into this game as quickly as possible.
Celtic have a throw in on the left hand side, about 25 yards from the corner flag. Greg Taylor to take it into the feet of O'Reilly, who got the second goal. Back to Taylor, and now it's Scales midway inside the St Mirren half, forward for O'Reilly. On to Taylor, looking to link with Palmer. O'Reilly's got it back, and then Palmer has it once more. Bolton in the way of that forward pass, then Flynn keeps it in and knocked down the right hand side by Fraser. Celtic win it once more, and it's McGregor chesting it into the path of O'Reilly. Good feet and good composure from the midfielder, and knocks it back to Nawrocki, who's able to advance from the halfway line well into St Mirren territory. Kyogo with the early pass forward. Bernardo looked like he was taken out there. That was certainly his claim, but David Monroe, the referee, gives simply the St Mirren throw-in over on the far side at 14 minutes in, and the home side already trailing by a couple of goals to nil.
I was just looking at Stevie there. He was speaking to his coaching staff, you know, and you can see the frustration coming out of him. And I don't know, Packy, but I'm looking at the midfield area where there's certainly an overload in Celtic's favour, and the 2 full-backs getting on the ball. There's Taylor coming again with it, and we're just St Mirren just getting pinned back, and I don't know if it's a waste with the 3 in the centre back against Kyogo at this minute. I don't know if they need one, or, you know, and you want to stay alive in the game. You don't want. He's tried to be positive with the 3-5-2, with keeping the 2 strikers up. You certainly don't want to. Here we go.
Yeah, Palmer's giving it away to Kilty in the middle of the park, looking to use the pace of Olasanya, but Nawrocki slides in and knocks it out of play.
They're the ones that are going to make count.
throw into St Mirren only, but already that pace of Olusanya does look like it might trouble the Celtic back line, but they do have the 2-goal cushion already established in the opening 6 minutes of the game. We've now played quarter of an hour, and still that's the way the scoreline stands. St Mirren 0, Celtic 2. As Hemming clears from inside his penalty area. Mandron gives chase, Scales knocks that back to Joe Hart. That looked like it might have been worth chasing down by Mandron. I think that was a feeling from the St Mirren fans as well, as he just watched it bounce back to Hart rather than trying to apply the pressure.
Al, goalkeeper totally in control.
Yeah, well, I always reckon it's worth putting a bit of pressure on them.
You're right.
Joe Hart dealt with that one pretty comfortably in the end. Here's Nawrocki, who looked to ease his way into the game at Celtic Park the other day and played pretty well, Packy, I thought, on the whole.
Yeah, he did. He went to ground, as I said, on probably about half a dozen occasions during the game. Got away with it, absolutely got away with it. It was good timing, good tackles, but I don't like to see a centre-half going to ground so many times. I prefer that he could actually read the game and get there without having to make those sliding tackles, because there's only one. If you miss it, you're in trouble.
Celtic on the attack once more. Out it comes to Bernardo at the angle of the box on the left-hand side into Taylor. Intricate passing attempted from Celtic, but this time they've given it away, and it's won back by Boyd Munce. But then St Mirren, well, they get a bit lucky there. Johnson couldn't control the attempted pass. He's won it back, though. Looked like he might have dragged Olusanya there, but nothing given, and Celtic come forward and won themselves a corner kick on the right-hand side with 16 and a half played. It's St Mirren 0, Celtic 2, and Celtic looking for more.
Yeah, I just see Brendan Rodgers down here almost, shouting to Alistair Johnson that if the ball or if Olusanya is in a position, get tight on him. Intercept that ball early. Don't allow him to get control and get him running at you, because he has got that pace.
Here is Johnston on the edge of the centre circle, out to Callum McGregor, right hand side, momentarily takes his eye off the ball, lets it slip under his boot, but recovers, and Celtic come forward down the right hand side. The cross comes in, but Zach Hemming able to hold that under no real pressure, and can just get a little bit of a breather and try to somehow come up with a game plan to force their way back into the contest, which at the moment is heavily weighted in Celtic's favour. Only 17 minutes played, but already they have a 2-goal advantage as Hemming launches it upfield, looking for Mandron up against Scales. Gets the flick on, but Olusanya not able to get close enough to it, and Joe Hart collects and immediately gets it out to Alistair Johnson on that right-hand side. Celtic coming forward once more in their change kit this evening. The kind of greyish green top and shorts and socks, with St Mirren in their traditional black and white striped black shorts and white socks on the defensive, as Maida has switched over to the left hand side and picks up possession, knocks it back to Taylor. Taylor about 25-30 yards from goal, has to check back the way under pressure from Flynn. It's Scales now, just takes a chance there against Mandron, but does well and keeps possession, and now it's Greg Taylor sliding it forward to Maida once more under pressure from Fraser, but gets the pass off to McGregor, still left hand side for Celtic. It's Bernardo back to Maida. Maida gets a real dunt in the back there from Fraser. Referee allowing play to continue. It's all the way back with Joe Hart. He's about 10 yards outside his goal and just plays it short to the pole. Nawrocki just making his 5th appearance, having come in the summer.
St Mirren have played this way against Celtic before with a kind of a 5-3-2, but the three in midfield have got such a job, a job to slide over every single time.
Yeah, the distance for them to get over, Packy, they're going to be dead in their knees by half time. There's certainly need. I'd like to see the wing backs try to jump up a little bit higher.
Celtic on the offensive, it's Bernardo and O'Reilly linking up once more, and then Maida trying to get involved, but Fraser just knocks it behind. He's not happy with something in there, he's letting his teammates know, but Celtic giving St Mirren the runaround to some extent here.
Yeah, I think the problem is it's very difficult for the wing backs to come up any higher and deal with Greg Taylor, because they've got a winger to deal with. You're right about the centre halves. If you're up against one, maybe later in the game push somebody in the midfield to smash up.
Even at this minute, Packy, just to give themselves a little breather, could they drop one of the strikers?
Comes out to McGregor, edge of the box, gets the shot away, it's blocked, and then the Celtic skipper is brought to the ground by a challenge from Mandron. Celtic have it back, those Scales out to Palmer, left hand side of the penalty area. That's a dreadful cross, this time from the Honduran. and St Mirren have the goal kick. But once again, the Palma corner kicks causing problems, but St Mirren breathe again, but they do trail by 2-0, 20 minutes on the clock, and Celtic with that 2-goal advantage. Maida in the first minute, and then O'Reilly after 6 minutes has given Celtic a comfortable lead in the early stages here in Paisley.
Maida and Palma, you can certainly see that they're on it. You know, they've already had a little switchy, flanky opposite wings there, causing Fraser and Tanza more problems, keep them guessing.
That looked like a free kick to me. Scales jumping on top of Mandron's back. He is kind of outmatched with height and that, but he was way up too early, and I think the referee could have easily given a free kick there.
He competes well, Scales. I think he's been a real steady player for Celtic this season. You know, and he seems to be growing as the season's going on.
St Mirren have a free kick just inside their own half on the edge of the centre circle. Kilty fouled, and St Mirren can try and get themselves up the park a bit as Gogic prepares to take the free kick. Fraser's out on this near side, the St Mirren right, and that's the target. Beaten in the air though by the much smaller Taylor. In fact, Fraser was fouling him in the jump, and Celtic
There's not much difference there, Packy, for the
Scales one.
For the Scales one.
Yeah.
And sometimes as a bigger club that goes for you. We all know that.
Celtic take the free kick square across the back from Scales to Nawrocki, and then back once more to the Republic of Ireland international. Forward it goes for Greg Taylor. Left hand side for Celtic. Now Palma. Fraser claiming for offside, but no flag. Taylor now back to Scales in the halfway line. Has to go all the way back to Joe Hart as Olusanya was cutting off the path to Nawrocki.
Yeah, I don't know about you, Danny, but I talked about it last week also. Wingers getting the ball and their first touch is backwards.
Oh, that's a great ball forward from Taylor, looking for Kyogo, and Gogic just get the slightest touch to take it away from Kyogo, and out comes Hemming to grab the ball before the Japanese striker could do any further damage. But Taylor's attempted ball over the top was almost inch perfect. Still 2-0 Celtic.
Yeah, you want them facing up right away, Packy, don't you? If they can get on that little half turn, and you know that's the one that gets bums off seats.
Yeah, and that's, sorry to go on about him again, but Ange Postecoglou, when he had the wingers playing there, that early on especially, he put that into their game.
Yeah.
First touch, open, take him on. If it's not on, eventually then he can come back out. But it just creates a positivity.
Yeah, what he gets them to do, Ange, you know, he gets them to play on the line right away.
Yep.
Nobody can tackle him from that side.
Celtic have it midway inside their own half. We're at the midway point in the first half. Celtic leading by 2-0, both goals coming inside the opening 6 minutes, and Celtic certainly well in charge as Palma cuts in off the left hand side. Fraser trying to stick close to him. McGregor picks up for Celtic, up to the angle of the box on the left, fires it into the penalty area, and comes off Bolton there at the near post, and behind for another Celtic corner as they look to extend their advantage and arguably kill St Mirren off well before half time. You'd have to say that a third goal would do that, such has been their dominance in the game thus far. It's Palma preparing to take the potentially short corner here to Taylor, and then there's a second ball has come on the park, so the referee has to stop play, and Maida kicks it off, and it will be another attempt here from Palma then from the left hand side. His in-swingers from this side can be particularly damaging, but he tries to arrow this out to the edge of the box. It's Bernardo who catches it on the volley, didn't catch it sweetly, and St Mirren will try to break. It's Olusanya, he's more or less on his own. He's going to have to do this on his own. About 6 Celtic players herring back the way before any St Mirren players can get up and support. It's really good work from Celtic to get back there. They have committed the foul in the end through Maida, but they were so quick to get players back there before any of the St Mirren players could get up and support Olusanya.
Yeah, that tells you something, doesn't it, really? You know, you had 6. Obviously it was a 1v1. Obviously he was in his own half. It was a long distance to go, but 6 players got back to help Nawrocki, and then St Mirren didn't have anybody supporting them.
That's certainly the difference, Packy. You know, the desire of Celtic to go both ways and then to go back and do the ugly side of it. But St Mirren, that's where you miss the creativity or the desire of O'Hara. You know, he's fantastic at making their runs.
Here's Boyd Muntz with a free kick midway inside the Celtic half. Clips it to the back post. It was taken off the toes of Richard Taylor in the end by Bolton. A bit of communication here might not have gone amiss, and in the end it comes to nothing. Celtic have the goal kick. They've already taken it. 25 minutes played. It's St Mirren 0, Celtic 2.
Yeah, listen, it was a decent enough ball into the back post, but I think if he didn't get a touch on it, O'Reilly was going to clear it anyway at that point, and I think the opportunity was gone.
Here's Maida, right hand side, midway inside the St Mirren half. Back the way to Johnston, and then back over the halfway line into the Celtic half for Nawrocki, who plays it square for Scales, and out to the left hand side for Palma. Palma brings it in off that flank. He's up against Flynn. Flynn trying to keep him on the right foot, forcing him in the park. He goes back to Nawrocki on the halfway line, just brings it forward. Straight ball. It was aimed at O'Reilly, but it's cut out by St Mirren, and here comes Olasanya, and he is one-on-one with Scales again, but Scales holds him up for now and then tries to find Mandron. Mandron nudges it back, but the referee was in the way there of Caelan Boyd Muntz. The St Mirren fans are furious, but David Munro could do little to get out of the way there of Boyd Muntz, and the St Mirren opportunity is gone as Celtic pick up possession once more midway inside their own half. Now it's Johnston on the halfway line, out to Maida. Celtic have just been so comfortable since getting those 2 early goals, and Joe Hart's goal has come under very little threat in these early stages as Johnston picks up on the right hand side for Celtic. Early ball forwards, just nudged on there by Bernardo, and knocked away by the St Mirren defence, out for a throw-in on the far side to Celtic.
Celtic's composure's been very good, you know, their decision making on the ball. For me, St Mirren, you know, when they do get Celtic into one of the channels, they've got to work harder to try and keep them in there, Packy. You know, there are too many balls coming back out for wee McGregor and releasing either fullback.
Here's Maida, right hand side for Celtic.
And here we're going to see it again.
Yeah, it's McGregor picking up, plays a square ball to Taylor. Stephen Robinson is going off his head down there at something, and Luis Palma picks up on the left flank. He's taken out of play there by Marcus Fraser, and it'll be a Celtic free kick. What is it that Stephen Robinson's losing the plot over down there?
What he wants is one of his centre forwards to drop into McGregor. That saves a midfielder from coming out, and just kind of almost, as Danny says, pin them over on one side. Don't allow McGregor to be the one that's going to change the play. He'll do it all day, and he's got the ability to do it all day, and that's you then having to chase 30-40 yards when you can almost start closing down over a 10-yard period, or a distance, sorry.
Celtic have a free kick about 10 yards outside the box to the left hand side, so essentially midway between the touchline and the 18-yard box. O'Reilly leaves it to Palma, who delivers a low ball. Flicked on. Oh, that has got to be the third goal, but Nawrocki somehow didn't manage to turn it goalwards after. I think Maida flicked it on at the near post, and Nawrocki could well have had his first Celtic goal there, but somehow didn't get the touch required, and it remains St Mirren 0, Celtic 2.
It's an absolutely terrific ball in, so it is. And again, Celtic attacking all areas of the goal there. That's been an Achilles heel of St Mirren over the last few weeks, set plays. And it is a poor area to give a one away, Packy, but I'm pleased to see, you know, at least at 27 minutes, they've laid a glove on somebody. They've got to get tighter.
Here's Johnston, right hand side for O'Reilly. Knocks it off Richard Taylor, and it'll be a Celtic throw-in over on that far side. We've played 28.5 minutes. The champions and league leaders leading by 2-0 when looking certainly very good value for that advantage. Here's Nawrocki, who might well have made it 3 just a moment or two ago.
Should have made it.
Yeah, absolutely.
he missed it. I think he came to him too quickly and he was taken by surprise, but it was a perfect free kick, as Danny says. Great delivery, but also people getting across the front of defenders to get a little flick on.
Celtic have a free kick, which Taylor has taken back to the halfway line to Scales, and then Taylor picks up once more, left hand side, closed down by Flynn, just tries to lift it over Fraser. Fraser does enough to just knock it behind for a corner, but more defending for St Mirren to do. They've been on the back foot throughout since the opening seconds here, and Celtic, if anything, look like they're going to extend their advantage rather than St Mirren getting back into the contest. The short corner's taken, Palma to Taylor. Taylor fires it in. It's Nawrocki winning the header, but it's a looping header and a pretty comfortable take for Zach Hemming, more or less on his goal line. He tries to fire it forward early, give Olasanya something to chase up against Johnston. Johnston heads it off Olasanya, gets a kind break of the ball, and then is able to play it back start as the half-hour mark approaches, and although Celtic haven't been able to add to their 2 early goals, they've been well in control of the game ever since.
Yeah, I think the 2 strikers aren't doing enough also to stop the ball from moving, even between the centre halves.
Yeah.
You know, it's almost an easy square pass, and then the fullback is on all the time.
Palma goes down just on the edge of the box. He's been given a free kick right on the very edge. Marcus Fraser not happy. I don't think it was actually him that committed the offence, but he was in close proximity, and Palma earning his side a free kick. It's right on the angle on the left-hand side of the penalty area, and this is certainly an opportunity potentially for a shot from Palma. You can certainly, we've seen his deliveries, particularly from this left-hand side on the right foot, can be ever so difficult to deal with, and if this is on target, any slight nick, or even if it's missed by all the players in and around the 6-yard box, it can be difficult for the goalkeepers to deal with.
Yeah, you know, the goalkeeper's view now, you know, he's standing in the middle of his goal, and if you're out on the ball, you think he's standing actually in the back post.
Yeah.
That space, and that's where
Palma, he's overhit that. My goodness, he's got that so badly wrong. Well, I think that's when you're trying to whip it with so much pace that he just completely misjudged it, and that's not one that will go on the Luis Palma show reel. Straight out of play, 31 minutes played, St Mirren 0, Celtic 2.
Yeah, just to explain that to you, you know, the goalkeeper picks up a position. He thinks he's got the near post covered.
Yeah.
He can actually take another half yard towards his near post, and he can actually even walk across to get that ball from the distances out.
Yeah.
And if it's curled round him on the left hand side, it's going to travel an enormous distance to beat him. And sometimes goalkeepers think that they have it covered, and they haven't, Danny.
It's a wee bit like the Joe Hart one with Tavernier.
Yeah,
you
very much so.
How many times has Tavernier done him in that?
On the opposite side.
On that opposite side.
Zach Hemming just caught by Dyson Maida as he came all the way out. It was a poor pass back that Hemming was trying to deal with, and just as he tried to keep the ball in play and stretched to do so, Maida was closing him down, and I just think he got a slight nick there on the goalkeeper, who's stayed down now. He's just off the pitch as the St Mirren physios go to give him a bit of treatment. It didn't seem to be a great deal of contact, and I wouldn't imagine he's badly hurt by this, but certainly it was St Mirren causing themselves problems with a poor back pass in the first instance, and it will eventually, I think, be restarted with a free kick once Zach Hemming is back up. 32 and a half minutes played here, though. St Mirren trailing by 2-0, and in all honesty, Celtic arguably could be more
than 3, at least 3. You know, with that header of Narowski at the back post, all he's doing is get contact on it, and he can almost miss. I think it might have slid off the side of his head, but all he's to do just deflect it on target, and it was a third goal for Celtic.
A little break there's given Stevie and his staff a little opportunity to get some communication on to the players, you know, and try and solve 1 or 2 issues there. And at this minute in time, you know, if they can get in at 2-0 at this minute in time and talk about, you know, situations and where they can improve.
Structure's a bit of structure between the front men and the midfielders to stop Celtic dominating the game. Not easy against Celtic, by the way, because they're all good technical players.
Yeah, definitely. I think they're giving wee McGregor too much respect. So
the thoughts there of the former St Mirren manager Danny Lennon, here alongside myself and Packy Bonner, former Celtic goalkeeper, watching Celtic lead by 2-0, and it is McGregor who's actually caught in possession this time by Kiltie and Olasanya, working hard to win it back for St Mirren, but then in steps Johnston on the right hand side for Celtic. He's taken out of play by Olasanya. Celtic free kick about 20 yards inside the St Mirren half, over on the right, and it will be an opportunity to threaten St Mirren once again. It's a quick free kick and a short one taken. McGregor just nudges it back to Scales inside the centre circle, out to the left for Greg Taylor. Taylor looking for options, Flynn closing him down, out to Palma it goes, just in off that left hand touchline, back the way to Scales, who's closed down by Mandron, and now Nawrocki will be likewise pressurised by Olasanya. Pass gets off to Johnston, his ball forward for Maida wasn't accurate enough, and St Mirren pick up, and it is Richard Taylor stepping forward from the back. It's a poor pass out to the left-hand side. St Mirren not giving themselves an opportunity here with some stray passing, and the home crowds getting a little bit frustrated as well. They've seen their side giving Celtic a lot harder times of late, even at Celtic Park earlier in the season. It was a much better performance from them. They went in front in that game through an early McMenamin goal, and it was Celtic were made to work really hard before coming back to win it 2-1. But on this particular evening, they are having it more their own way.
This is where you can...
Clearly the early goal makes a huge difference. Brendan Rodgers still not entirely satisfied down there, as he's just waving from his position at the edge of the technical area, looking to get some sort of instruction on. St Mirren have it in the middle of the park. It's brought down by Kilty, helps it forward, looking for Mandron. Nawrocki's back there though to get it clear only as far as Tanzer. He heads it forward down that left flank for Mandron. He was looking for the run there to Kilty. Again, it's just overhit, and St Mirren passing just letting them down as McGregor keeps his cool, and inside his own penalty he gets the pass off to Taylor, who in turn finds O'Reilly, and now it's out with Palmer left hand side up against Fraser, looking to come inside, steps away from Fraser, dinks that almost over Richard Taylor, looking to try and find Bernardo, comes off the head of Taylor, out for a Celtic corner right hand side. We've played about 35 minutes here. The big screen, which normally has the time on it, had just flicked an advert as I glanced at it there. So
in the last couple of minutes there, Packy, you can actually see whatever Stevie and his staff are saying. The intent is a little bit better there and pressing a little bit higher, but the quality of Celtic, you know, as good players do, they can sometimes break that press.
36 minutes on the clock as this corner from the right hand side is driven in near post and is glanced towards the back post. Is that O'Reilly again, who was in there getting his head to it at the near post? He just couldn't arrow it on target, and it's behind for a St Mirren a goal kick, and the scoreline remains St Mirren 0, Celtic 2.
Yeah, it was a different type of corner. It wasn't whipped in, or it was he's over on the right hand side, Palma, and he's hitting that, but he clips it.
Yeah, it was clipping. It was better, Packy, know, because sometimes when he's trying to flip the ones all the time, you know, as we've seen a couple of times, it went wayward, but you know, when he relaxes a wee bit more on it and takes a bit off it, he's got very, very good quality.
Here's Olasanya doing well initially. Eventually Celtic stop his momentum, and it played forward. Mandron looks offside but won't catch the pass in any case, and it's behind for a Celtic goal kick. 37 played in this first period. Celtic leading by a couple of goals to nil.
Yeah, I think if St Mirren with the two up front, if they get decent control of the game though, and knocking a few passes, if they can switch that ball from left to right, and they can maybe get Palma sleeping a little bit and get a wing back forward, because Greg Taylor's got to go on the inside to give his centre half a little bit of cover, and there's space out in the side. They've got to almost open up and change the play. That might give them a little bit of a
definitely
chance.
Packy, and that's where you talk about then the quality, you know, and their composure and possession of the ball. But I've got to give Celtic a lot of credit at the minute in time, because they're not allowing them to play.
Here's Johnston, good channel ball for Maida to chase. Haven't seen all that much of Maida since his first minute goal, but there he gets the ball back to O'Reilly over on the far side. Right footed ball into the 6-yard box, but it's a confident and pretty comfortable take for Zach Hemming, and it means 2-0 with 7 minutes of the first period left to play, plus stoppage time, as Hemming prepares to launch this one. Long Kyogo just lingering outside the penalty area to make it slightly more awkward for the keeper, who eventually does fire it well into the Celtic half. Knocked on by Mandron, but Scales wins the second ball and knocks it forward. Maida helps it on, but then Bolton plays it forward. Olasanya will give chase here. Scales has got to be careful and just hooks it out of play on this near side, the Celtic left, and it'll be a St Mirren throw in midway inside the Celtic half, actually a bit further forward than that. Fraser is going to, I think, allow Taylor to come across and play the long throw in here.
Yeah, it's a pity actually, as Taylor has got the long throw, because he's got the height also.
In the box. And Bacchus is normally the one with the long throw, so he is.
Gogic has got a pretty long throw as well, but he stayed back in the centre circle for now. He and Tanzer keeping an eye on Kyogo, but it's St Mirren looking to try and get away back into the game as Taylor from the right hand side plays it into the near post. Mandron just flicks it back to Flynn, out now to the right hand side once more. Taylor shifts it onto his left foot. That's not a bad ball, but Hart comes out at the back post and takes the ball takes all the pressure off his back line, as no St Mirren player could get near it. And 6.5 minutes left of this first half. St Mirren 0, Celtic 2.
Yeah, what a difference when Joe does come off his line and just takes that pressure off. Like, he's not a small goalkeeper, Joe, but I think he probably, I don't know if he'll do it now in his career, but certainly he should be able to do a lot more of that.
Here's Scales crossing the halfway line and finding the ball to Taylor. Taylor down the left-hand side to Palmer. Palmer quickly shackled by Fraser, but still has possession and tries to switch the play, but Tanzer keeps an eye on it and cutely just heads that back to his goalkeeper before Kyogo can pounce. And St Mirren have possession and their goalkeeper Zach Hemming, who again will just play this long by the looks of it. Kyogo again just within 2 or 3 yards of him, but Hemming launches it way beyond any of his own teammates and all the way through to Joe Hart, and just coughing up possession all too cheaply for Celtic to build the latest attack down the right hand side. It's Johnston for Maida.
Sorry, Alec. He'd be far better hitting that high into an area rather than that volley that's sort of almost taking it beyond everybody. Go back to the good old days when you played the ball up into the air with snow on it coming down. Challenge the centre halves a little bit to see can they head a ball.
Palmer taken out of play there by Fraser, and David Monroe, the referee, wants a word with him. I think that's been 1 or 2 infringements from Marcus Fraser, and perhaps just getting the word that his next offence will be a yellow card. There haven't been any so far in the game, as Scales, about 15 yards inside the St Mirren half, just leaves the free kick to Greg Taylor. Taylor plays it out to the left-hand side, further to Palmer. Back once more with Taylor, and then Scales. St Mirren quickly closing the Celtic backline down, but Nawrocki gets the pass forward to Johnston. He lets it run across his body. The challenge comes in from Kilteach. Just knock it out of play over on the far side, the Celtic right, about 15 yards inside the St Mirren half. The throw-in to be taken by Johnston. Back the way it goes to Nawrocki.
The positions Taylor and Johnston pick up really cause Fraser and Tanzer problems.
Here's Nawrocki bringing it back towards the halfway line. Johnston now right hand side into looking for O'Reilly, but it's Bernardo who picks up. Now it's O'Reilly from the right hand side. He plays it off as at Mirren leg and out for yet another Celtic corner. 3 minutes left in this opening period. If Celtic could get a third before half time, we'd have to say the game was done and dusted. If it's not already, St Mirren will certainly believe they can get back into it if they can get the next goal, but the corner's taken short. It's Bernardo playing it into the near post. It wasn't a good delivery. Brendan Rodgers turns back away from the pitch and preparing his half-time team talk. It's Stephen Robinson, you would imagine, though, who's got the bigger job in his hand at half-time to try and rally the troops and find a way of getting back into a contest which hasn't really deserved that name in this opening period. Celtic have been so dominant. Here's Johnston on the halfway line, right hand side for Celtic, feeds it forward. It's a poor ball though, cut out by Tanzer into Boyd Munns, and then back to Richard Taylor. Tanzer once more left hand side, just checks back, and it's Taylor once more, put under pressure there by Palmer, who's over on the right for the moment for Celtic. Plays up to Manzon. Now Tanzer looking to clip that over for Olisanya. There's a chase on here. Taylor takes charge of the situation at the back for Celtic before Joe Hart could come, just knocks it out of play on the far side before Olisanya could threaten, but there was a dilemma just for a moment there, Taylor and Hart.
That was a lot better, Alistair. You know, St Mirren make 5 or 6 passes there and then the ball coming over the top there, and it caused a real bit of uncertainty.
Good run by Gogic, out to the left for Tanzer once more, plays it down that left flank, picked up by Kilty, and out for a throw-in off Nawrocki down near the corner flag. As St Mirren in these final stages of the first half look to try and find a way back into the game. Taylor will again, Richard Taylor that is, go and take this long throw-in down near the corner flag on the St Mirren left this time. I'm not sure, Alex Gogic again staying back, so too Marcus Fraser. I wonder if those two would be better served going into the penalty area. It's not such a great long throw this time, as the body down there, it looks like a handoff, and then Hart is caught there by a high boot from Olisanya, and that was a really dangerous and reckless challenge. A yellow card for Olisanya. Hart lying prone on the ground. Well, he's helped to his feet eventually by Olasanya.
I don't think he caught him, actually. It was dangerous, though. Boot was high. Difficult one for a striker because it goes into an area you want to go for the ball.
I think he had every right to go for it.
But it was high, and that was a danger. But he missed Joe Hart, actually. So he got away with it from that perspective. If he had made contact with Joe, then it might have been a different story. But Joe got up very, very quickly. I think that's annoyed the fans a little bit. But his boot was high.
Yeah, and there was a previous challenge as well, which I think caught Alistair Johnston, which that also attracted the ire of the Celtic fans behind that goal. And I think there is a check going on. The referee standing with his right hand to his ear, one of his fingers to his ear.
A check for what, though?
Well, I would imagine it's the nature of the decision. It's a serious foul play check. The home fans booing, and the VAR this afternoon is Stephen McLean.
If he's caught him a different ball game, but he hasn't caught him really. And Joe's got up and get on with it. Just get on with it.
Fair play to Joe. He's got up. He's not made anything of it.
1 minute of added on time, but I think that'll be extended now. We've had this particular delay. David Munro still receiving instruction from Stephen McLean, the VAR, as Joe Hart prepares to take what will simply be a free kick from inside his 6-yard box. I'm just not sure. There was a challenge just prior to the Olasanya one. I couldn't actually see. I'm not sure if it was Mandron perhaps that caught Alistair Johnston in the build-up. It's difficult to know exactly what is being checked here. Certainly Olasanya, the manner in which he made the challenge, if he had connected with Joe Hart, you could see it being potentially a red card. But
I don't get it.
David Munro's coming across to the monitor here.
Unless it was the first one. I can't see this. I tried to describe the second one. Yes, his boot was high. Yes, it was in an area, but a striker's got to go for that ball when it's gone in there. Now, in saying that, his foot was high, but he never caught Joe, really. Otherwise, Joe would be flat out down in the ground, and he wouldn't have got up so quickly.
Yeah, the referees across looking at the VAR monitor, certainly. And there's a decision to be made here. Just trying to get a look at some TV pictures to see exactly what it is that's being checked and what the nature of it is. David Munro continues to look at the reruns of the incident. And back on he comes. Let's see what the decision is here. He's making the VAR sign. This could be trouble here for Olasanya. I think the yellow card is going to be wiped out and changed to a red. Olasanya awaits the referee. David Munro walking across to him. And it's a red card for Toyosi Olasanya. And things go from bad to worse for St Mirren at the tail end of this first half. It began badly for them, the loss of 2 quick goals, and Olasanya in the first half stoppage time is dismissed after the VAR review for serious foul play on the Celtic goalkeeper Joe Hart.
Is it because of intent, or if he makes connection with him, absolutely, then you might call it in. But Joe, I don't think he made any real contact with Joe, unless Joe's a very brave man and he's got up so quickly. Maybe because of intent.
I think we're going to have to really wait till half time, and the guys in the studio will have seen this much better than we have here, and they'll be able to enlighten us exactly as to why Olasanya has been dismissed. But players resumed. We're well into stoppage time. It's only meant to be 1 minute, but as I say, that'll be extended because of that VAR review. But St Mirren down to 10 men with Olasanya set off.
His foot was very high. I am looking at it now just in the replay, and his foot was extended very, very high. Joe had to go down a little bit, but we'll talk about it at half time, no doubt.
Here's Palma as Johnston picks up at the edge of the box, clips it to the back post. It's not a good cross though, and thanks to my colleague Jane Lewis, who is on hand with the technology to allow us to see those reruns that the guys have been able to comment now, having seen that rerun, and we'll discuss that further. But Celtic well in charge of this game, as with a 2-goal advantage and now a man advantage going into the second half, as Zach Hemming prepares to take the goal kick, and half-time whistle sounds. Well, the boos ring round the Smythe Stadium from the home fans, who have seen their team reduced to 10 men in first half stoppage time on the advice of the VAR Stephen McLean. The initial challenge by Toyosi Olasanya on Joe Hart, it looked high certainly at first glance. We couldn't see it clearly, of course, but David Munro deemed it a yellow card. He's now confronted with the boos as he comes off. And Celtic had already been 2 goals up from 6 minutes in, with goals from Dyson Maeda in the opening 60 seconds, and then Matt O'Reilly after just 6 minutes, and Nawrocki missed a glorious chance to make it 3 from just a yard or so out, but he sent it by the post. But in first half stoppage time, St Mirren reduced to 10 after a VAR review upgraded the yellow to red for Olisanya. St Mirren have a massive mountain to climb in the second period. At half time though, at the Spicer Stadium, it is St Mirren 0, Celtic 2.
The Scottish Premiership.
From BBC Radio Scotland.
Betrayal, lies, deceit. Doesn't that sound like fun? Welcome to The Traitors, where 22 people play the ultimate game of treachery for a big cash prize.
I want to catch a traitor.
I don't trust anyone.
Play it dirty, and you might come out on top. Play it nice, and you could end up 6 feet under.
Prepare for the worst, hope for the best.
The Traitors starts Wednesday on BBC iPlayer.
You're listening to Sports Sound on BBC Radio Scotland. Celtic absolutely cruising at half-time in Paisley. Dyson Maeda with the opening goal in the first minute there. The second coming from Matt O'Reilly, and then a real blow for St Mirren right on the stroke there of half-time. Olisanya sent off, so they're down to 10 men, 2 goals down. This is our second commentary match of the day. We start off with Rangers 3-1 victory over Kilmarnock at Ibrox. Elsewhere today, Hibs 2, Motherwell 2, Livingston 1, Hearts 2, Ross County 0, Aberdeen 3. The game at Dens Park between Dundee and St Johnstone was postponed this morning due to a waterlogged pitch. So looking at the live Premiership table, Celtic 54 points, 8 points clear of Rangers. Rangers, though, do have 2 games in hand. Hearts really strengthening that grip of third spot there on 36 points, 5 points clear of Kilmarnock with a game in hand. As things stand, St Mirren 5th in the table, 29 points. Hibs 6th on 25. Then in the bottom half of the table, Dundee 22 points in their 18 games, the same as Aberdeen. A great win for Barry Robson's side this afternoon. Motherwell, real heartbreak for them, losing that stoppage time goal away at Easter Road. They are in 9th spot with 20 points. Then St Johnstone in 19, Ross County in 18, Livingston adrift at the bottom on 12 points. So you'd have to say a much improved performance from Davy Martindale's side this afternoon. Let's then get to our commentary team in Paisley, starting off with yourself, Danny Lennon. As a manager, you make the preparations all week, you set your side up, and then you make the start like that. What a huge blow for Stephen Robinson.
Yeah, it's the start that Stevie and St Mirren, the fans, didn't want. You know, a great win on Saturday, and be looking to capitalise on that, just as Celtic would have. And it was all about how you start against, you know, Celtic, making sure that they don't get any momentum. But the quality that they have, you know, it was fantastic, slick play, bringing St Mirren over to one side of the pitch, and then, you know, a great run with Maeda. And is it too early doors in the game? But that's where you've got to be prepared from the first minute to the 90-plus minute, you know, and be aware of runners coming inside you. And Stevie will be disappointed in that, because that really makes it even more challenging than what it is. And you know, St Mirren offered very little, you know, in the game in terms of when they did have the possession of the ball. You could see where their threats lay, you know, in the Luciana up top trying to get in beyond, but it took you about 35 minutes before they made 5 or 6, you know, passes, and then one ball coming over the top. And that's what they have to do a little bit better. You know, they've got to be a little bit more controlled and comfortable on the ball. But, you know, taking nothing away from Celtic, you know, I think Celtic's had a lot of time and space to play. I thought, you know, the distance that the midfield 3 had to travel across, you know, in the width of the pitch was causing Fraser and Tanza great deals of problems. And, you know, in the first 30 minutes, Palma and Maeda, you know, were having a field day.
Yeah, that goal timed at 54 seconds for Maeda. Pat, we were at Dens Park this day last week, and Celtic were good that day, very convincing victors over Dundee, and then of course a great win in the derby at the weekend. Looking at this first half performance, totally dominant, 73% possession, 6 shots to St Mirren's 1, 3 in target, none in target for the home side. Things seem to be really starting to click now for Brendan Rodgers and his team.
Absolutely, and they've restricted St Mirren to get any momentum in the game whatsoever, and that's down to good passing, good slick passing, good movement, but also if they do lose the ball, they're closing St Mirren down and winning that ball back really, really quickly, and then putting St Mirren on the back foot for most of this first half. And from that perspective, I think the fans, Brendan Rodgers, the players are probably enjoying it better also.
Yeah.
And then they've got the goals that sort of caps it off. And once you get an early goal, then it sets the scene for the game. And then when you back that up with another goal fairly quickly after that, you just settle into the game so easily. And I think also when you look at the result at the weekend, I think it's given them great confidence, because they know that was a difficult game for them, because Rangers had momentum going, and Celtic came out on top, albeit that they were at home, but they've come out and they've got through that game. They were very nervy at the end, but that's just now led into that confidence that they're shown today in this game. And you know, listen, they're all good technical players. You know, they get the ball away quickly at the back. St Mirren will have to do something to stop them changing that ball from right to left, left to right, because there's St Mirren stuck with 3 players in midfield, and they've got to cover almost the full width of the pitch. And Greg Taylor's getting out all day down this left-hand side. And the same, and not so much with Alistair Johnson. He plays more of an orthodox right back, but with Alistair Johnson stepping into midfield, he's getting the ball in great positions, and they're able either to give it to him or give it to Palma, and that's St Mirren on the back foot.
And then on the back of that, Packy, you know, when they get it into the final third, you know, you've got Bernardo and you've got O'Reilly, who are making great little space for themselves in those pockets, and they've caused the 3 centre-backs of St Mirren real difficulty, you know, with their unselfish running in beyond there and taking them away, and that's where the second goal come from. You know, coming again down the left-hand side, and then I think it was a great run. It was at Bernardo or O'Reilly, I think it was. And then great composure. I think it was O'Reilly and then Bernardo in the box.
And you're absolutely right. And that early part of the game, St Mirren weren't able to cope with that. Later on, I think one of the centre halves starting to step out onto Bernardo, especially stopping him and forcing him backwards, and that has helped maybe St Mirren to kind of almost stabilise themselves in the game.
Definitely, and I think what you'll probably see here, I think you'll probably see Stevie go to a back 4 now. You know, maybe Gogic possibly stepping into the middle of the park.
Yeah, it's interesting, Pat, you're speaking there about the confidence of the team, but also looking at the confidence of the individual. Paulo Bernardo is now starting to look like a very decent player for Celtic.
Yeah, listen, I was critical of his contribution when he got into the team. Yes, in Europe it's a different kettle of fish, because I was looking at more from a defensive perspective as a midfielder, getting back into areas, but I think even on the ball, when they were playing in obviously the Scottish League, he didn't contribute enough for me. Now he's starting to get into positions. He'll come to the ball, he'll play, he'll link the game up, but he's also now making little runs into the box. He got his goal, the first goal he got against Dundee. He made a really good run. Okay, a bit of luck at the end on the execution, but then the goal obviously has given him huge confidence against Rangers. But you can see now that he's starting to believe that he can actually do a lot more than just be on the ball and knock it about and keep the ball. And when you play with Celtic, when you're up against teams like any of the teams really, they almost sit back and they make it difficult for you. So you've got to mix your game up, and I think he's doing that now, and he's growing in confidence, and that's a real asset to Celtic. But the other thing with Celtic have now is they've got guys on the bench. Look at Paddy's sitting on the bench. They've got Abada sitting on the bench. Those are like players, and we mentioned it against Rangers, those are like actually new signings.
Yeah.
And with quality. They're not average players that's going to be sitting on the bench to come on. They are starters, and they're the ones that Brendan talked about. So he may not have to go to the market that much in the new year, maybe 1 or 2, but he doesn't have to go wholesale that maybe that he was thinking about a month ago.
Celtic absolutely cruising in pace. This is our second commentary match of the day. We started off with the commentary game at Ibrox, a convincing victory for Rangers against Kilmarnock. beating Derek McInnes's side by 3 goals to 1. We'll hear from him, but first up, let's hear from the Rangers manager, Philippe Clement.
It was a really good performance most of the game. We were the dominant team. We scored 3 really good goals. We had other really good chances out of good combination play, good runs, the things we wanted to do today against Kilmarnock. And we knew it was a really hard game. They won 3 out of 4 Old Firms this season, so they showed their quality there. And I'm really pleased what my players showed today.
I think I'm right in saying you were not happy with the penalty award against you. Do you think John Souttar was a little unlucky to be penalised for the handball?
My team made such a good performance that it's a pity to speak about that, because you take the spotlights out of them, and they deserve today to get the spotlights about all the good things they did. But the difficulty for me is to explain them why this is a penalty, and 3 days ago it was not a penalty. His arm cannot disappear. It was not stretched. He put his elbow in. So I hope there comes some clarity for the second part of the season, for everybody, not only for us, but for every team. I think it's important that there's clarity about what is handball and what is not handball.
For 40 minutes, a lot of what we'd asked for was there. You know, I thought you've got to give up possession at times when you come here, and we defended a bit deeper than we would normally like to do, but we had a lot of pace in the back line, and you know, even when they did try to get in behind us, we were kind of dealing with that. Kept Rangers in front of us, and keepers not too much to do, to be honest. We had good moments, probably the best chance of the first half, and Kyle goes through and it's a good save for Butland. So a lot of these little things we were pleased with, and the second goal came from nowhere. I mean, and regardless of the result today, I've been really pleased with the first half of the campaign. So, and you know, I think we're getting better. I think we're clearly improving. So not too despondent, despite you're never going to be happy when you lose a game of football, and we're disappointed with 1 or 2 things in the game, but massive credit to my team.
Yeah, Derek McInnes there. His side did play very well this afternoon. So Ross McCausland with the opener for Rangers on 41 minutes. A great goal from Sima right on the stroke of half-time. Then we saw that penalty, Danny Armstrong on the spot on 58 minutes. The one we heard there, Philippe Clement talking about, not at all happy at the award of that penalty. But Cantwell wrapped things up. Todd Cantwell on 61 minutes for the home side there. Celtic then, you would think we'd be under a wee bit of pressure in the 5 o'clock kick-off in Paisley, but my goodness, they got off to the dream start. 54 seconds dies in Maeda. Matt O'Reilly with the second on 6 minutes, and Olisanya sent off for the home side on the stroke of half-time. Danny Lennon, so you said, do you think perhaps a change of shape now from Stephen Robinson? He has to stop this being an absolute thumping this evening, doesn't he?
Yeah, definitely. You know, in terms of, I'm looking at perhaps Gogic coming into the middle of the park and going to a 4-4-1 within there. And what they know that they're going to do, certainly with 10 men, never mind 11, is give up a lot of possession now. And, you know, when they do win it, that's where they've got to take a little bit more care, or a great deal more of care on the ball, you know, and make sure that they play in the areas where Celtic can't hurt them, and that's going to be a challenge this half. So I'm just looking at, you know, the bench and what St Mirren have in there. You know, there's young Lewis Jameson who played on Saturday there. You know, he's got great legs on him, very energetic, likes to go in beyond as well. You know, a Junga who scored on Saturday, and I think, you know, the next stage of the game and how it goes, how the game starts. If St Mirren can keep themselves in the game, you know, then Stephen might twist a little bit later as the game develops. But you know, it sounds as if it's all negative for St Mirren at this minute in time. You know, I know that Celtic have come in there in the back of three wins in a trot. St Mirren up and down, you know, but a great win on Saturday there. But you know, overall we can't be too disappointed, you know, because St Mirren have had a great first half of the season also, so they have. So they've got to take the positives, and you know, they're not coming up against this quality every single week.
Kenny, just before we kick off here, the teams are coming out. What about the penalty or the sending off? Did you have a look at it?
Yeah, it was a bad one, Packy. Not intentional at all, but the boot went right into the face of Joe Hart.
Yeah,
it was a potentially very dangerous challenge, I would say, but not at all intentional from
No,
outside.
I think it was more a reaction from the striker, wasn't it?
Yeah.
To almost go for a ball that was clipped across. It was high, his leg was straight. When I seen it again on the thing initially, because Joe got up so quickly, I didn't think there was too much in it. But when you see it actually on the film, it looks as if his leg was very high and very straight, and that in itself probably was dangerous.
Yeah, no doubt at all, guys. It was the correct decision from the refereeing team there. So a big job ahead for the Paisley Saints this evening. Can they find any way back into this game? It's going to be tough with Celtic with that advantage. Let's now get back to Paisley for second half commentary. St Mirren against Celtic with Danny Lennon, Pat Bonner and Alistair Lamont.
Thanks, Kenny. Right on cue. St Mirren get us back underway. No changes in terms of personnel at half-time. The guys keep an eye on certainly the St Mirren formation as to whether that is going to change to a back four, or how Stephen Robinson approaches this second period in terms of trying to come to terms with the 10 men and a 2-goal deficit. There's an offside flag up early against St Mirren, and it'll be a Celtic free kick deep in their own territory. I see one of the interested onlookers here this afternoon is Mr. Rod Stewart, taking in his beloved Celtic's impressive first half performance, you'd have to say. Certainly the opening 6 minutes were highly impressive as they opened up that 2-goal advantage, and then they just managed the rest of that first period. Could have been 3 up if Nawrocki had managed to guide a close range header on target. Couldn't do so, and that's why at the start of this second period it's 2-0 to Celtic. Tanser looking to find Mandron, who's now that solitary figure.
He done really well there, Tanser, initially going around Maeda, but then it was such a slack pass at the end of it. Now, it's fine getting into a good area, but then it's almost about the final pass has got to be the one that's going to create something.
Here's Palma left hand side for Celtic. Low ball in, is cut out by Boyd Muntz, and then Flynn goes to ground under a bit of pressure there from Greg Taylor, who can't believe the free kick. Actually, it's Palma who's given away the free kick. It did look like it was just a bit of an awkward challenge.
That's good play for me for Flynn, you know, taking that wee extra touch on the ball and allowing his team a little bit to get up the pitch there. It certainly looks like St Mirren have stuck with the same at this minute in time, and probably asking Tanser and Fraser push in a little bit quicker now in the middle of the park.
Hemming with a free kick launched in the direction of Mandron, but Johnston gets the better of him. Breaks back the way to Richard Taylor in the halfway line, under pressure from Maeda, who sticks a toe in, and then Bernardo is able to help it to the left hand side to Taylor, crossing the halfway line now. Celtic coming forward looking for the third killer goal. Palma now takes over, cutting in from the left hand side, plays it square to Johnston. St Mirren getting everyone back behind the ball. Nawrocki for his captain Callum McGregor, midway inside the St Mirren half, out to the left hand side it goes to Taylor, back to McGregor. Flynn comes out to meet him. Keogho, who's barely touched the ball, which is not entirely unusual for him. Here's Scales picking up 25 yards from goal. Now O'Reilly to Maeda at the edge of the box, just inside it now. Back to O'Reilly, touches it infield. He was looking for McGregor. Comes to Scales instead, who goes for goal, and it's taken a touch on its way through, and it'll be a Celtic corner, almost finding the bottom corner there. Liam Scales coming up from the back. Instead, it just took a slight nick, and it's a Celtic corner from the right-hand side. Still 2-0 they lead at the start of this second period. Short corner taken from O'Reilly to Palma, gets it back to O'Reilly. Now McGregor lines one up, takes a big block. He claimed for a handball, comes back to him. O'Reilly now at the edge of the box, slides it through. Greg Taylor, big chance across the 6-yard box, knocked away. Tanser picks up possession, looking to try and play the ball out from the back. Maeda challenges him. Palma picks up Taylor, who might well have gone for goal himself, who's trying to be unselfish, and it didn't really come off as St Mirren somehow survived. Still 2-0.
Oh, it was a great position, and it was a brilliant tackle, sliding tackle from Gogic, I've got to say, getting himself across when it looked like it's going to be a certain goal. I think he should have had a strike across the goalkeeper, you know, and then the goalkeeper's got to make a save and parry that ball.
Johnston into the 6-yard box it comes, and again it's Gogic who's there just at the edge of his 6 6-yard box to knock it out of play, but yeah, Taylor only 8 yards out, just to this right of centre, could have just hammered that goalwards, and even if it breaks off the keeper, as you're saying, Packy, then could well have gone in on the rebound, but instead he tried to play across the 6-yard box, and Gogic able to make the saving challenge. St Mirren have knocked it out of play, but they are very much on the back foot, as you would expect, with just the 10 men.
There's gonna be lots and lots of periods in the second half where it's going to be almost the 9 players plus the goalkeeper of St Mirren back defending, and they're hoping then that they can maybe hit Celtic a little bit in the counter-attack. But now the difficulty is that they have nobody really to step out onto McGregor, and he will just dictate the game and keep them pinned back big time.
But what you can actually see right away is St Mirren have actually got a little bit of composure on the ball. But on the flip side of that, is Stevie's telling his team to have a little bit. You can see Brendan's message is to keep the intensity high. You know, any time that a St Mirren player has the ball, there's 2 or 3 green jerseys round about him.
There's a bit of concern over on the far side for one of the Celtic players who's gone down. I think it's Greg Taylor. I can't be entirely certain over on the far side at the moment, but he was certainly caught by the St Mirren player in the challenge, and the free kick has been awarded. But looks like Taylor's in some distress there.
Yeah, it's caught his foot, whether it kind of comes down on his foot or whether he's twisted his ankle, but he's certainly down, needing treatment at the moment. Just a couple of players for Celtic gone to warm up, one of them being Abada.
Yeah, well, he's up on his feet again, limping just at the moment, as the Celtic medical team just take him off at the side of the pitch and allow the game to continue, and it will restart with the Celtic free kick. We've played 5 minutes of the second period. It's still 2-0 Celtic, but a chance here to create as Palma lines it up from the left-hand side, knocks it back the way to Scales. Scales plays it square. O'Reilly just manages to get away from Manzon. Now it's Johnston back the way to Nawrocki. Taylor's cleared to come back on after treatment. Gets it from Scales, booed by the home fans who felt he was milking that. It didn't seem to be that he was feigning injury. Here's O'Reilly. It's a good ball for Johnston, right hand side of the penalty area, almost at the byline. Looks like he's overcooked that cross. Indeed he has, and it's gone out. In fact, for a goal kick, it's curled out and then back in, and it will be a goal kick to St Mirren. 51 on the clock. St Mirren 0, Celtic 2.
Poor Cross, he's got all the time in the world to pick it. Maybe that's what's wrong. When you've got too much time, you end up not being able to execute properly, but certainly it was normal training exercise where you're just putting the ball into an area and he overcooks it.
Yeah, Celtic got a lot of possession at the minute, and St Mirren working incredibly hard, so they are. But Celtic making the right decisions, playing around them with the compact middle of the pitch that St Mirren have. But once you get in those areas, you've got to have that little bit of quality.
Well, St Mirren on the back foot more or less throughout this game, certainly at the moment, as Gogic plays it back to Hemming under pressure from Kyogo, gets it clear. Taylor thumps it back forward. Gogic gets his head to the edge of the penalty area. Up goes Palma, able to nudge that to the left hand side. Kyogo across goal. Taylor gets an important touch, comes back to Palma, who hammers it goalwards, but just off target and into the Celtic fans behind Zach Hemming's goal. But it seems like it's just going to be a matter of time before Celtic do get that third goal, such as the pressure on that St Mirren backline. Brendan Rodgers with a whistle to Yang, who's getting the initial call from his manager, as Brendan Rodgers looks to change it up and make sure this game goes well beyond St Mirren and there's no lifeline handed to the 10 men for the home side. The goal kick's taken up towards Manzon. Scales does well and plays it forwards as Bolton picks up possession, knocks it up to the halfway line for Manzon, brings it down the chest. He's very much a lone figure up front for St Mirren now that they're down to 10. Fraser down the right hand touchline for St Mirren. He's made a lot of ground. Can he find a cross? He's managed to get away from Taylor. He's done really well, actually. Back post ball. Tanzer can't quite climb high enough to direct the goal, the header on target. Richard Taylor picks up for St Mirren, played into the edge of the penalty area by Boy Munce and cleared by Scales. Boy Munce goes to try and just see it out for a throw-in. He's had pressure put on him by Maida, too much pressure, reckons the referee David Munro, and it's a St Mirren free kick right in front of Stephen Robinson's technical area, just a couple of yards inside the Celtic half, and an opportunity for St Mirren to try and put the ball into the Celtic defensive third.
That was a lot better by St Mirren there, Packy. You know, Mandron holding the ball in well. Lincoln, going to be a long afternoon for him, so important that he does do that when he can. And it was great to see Marcus Fraser, you know, going down the outside there and getting a decent delivery in and hanging it up there for a 1-on-1 at the back. Just like to see a little bit more composure in the ball as it comes back out in the second phase there, giving it away. Just, I know St Mirren's down 2-0, but you know, I think there's better opportunities to, rather than just flinging the ball in from a central area like that.
Totally agree. Just keep the ball for a little bit and create something, rather than just trying something when it's not on and then giving the ball back to Celtic, and Celtic will hurt you then.
Yeah, definitely.
Here's that Celtic change, and it is Yang who's coming on for Luis Palma after just about 10 minutes of the second period. Pretty much a like-for-like change. I guess that Tia will just go over and play on that left flank, Yang, as Palma comes off with the scoreline 2-0 to Celtic with 10 minutes of the second period played. It's going to be a Celtic throw-in deep in their own territory, left-hand side, as Taylor steals a few yards, encouraging the St Mirren fans to get even more angry and frustrated with the way this game is going. Richard Taylor picks up and plays it to the right-hand side to Bolton, and now it's Fraser once more on that right flank.
Put it in.
Further up the field he goes once more. It comes into the feet of Kiltie. Can he get the shot away? He goes back to Mandron instead. It's very crowded at the edge of that penalty area. Celtic swarming round the ball to make sure St Mirren couldn't get a shot off, and then Tanzer's ball forwards, a rather hopeful one, headed away by Greg Taylor, only as far as Richard Taylor comes forward. Can he get the shot off? Oh, he can. It's a really poor one off the right foot of Richard Taylor, and it goes out for a throw-in on the far side. Well, that's kind of nosebleed territory for the big defender, and he got it all wrong.
Yeah, it's a lot better by St Mirren though, so as you know, they're making one or two passes now. They're being positive. That's two crosses from the right hand side in the last 3 minutes. So they have, but once again when it comes back out there, you know, they're just needing that little bit of composure and circulate the ball a little bit more. Let Celtic run for a minute or two.
It's Gogic at the back for St Mirren on the halfway line. Forward for Mandron. Just a slightly better spell, you'd have to say, for the home side, despite being a man down and 2 goals down, as well as Fraser felt he was caught, and the home fans are furious because it looked like he was caught by a high boot there. Not a lot in it again, but the boot was certainly high from the Celtic player who went into that challenge, but play allowed to continue, and the home fans again just getting more and more annoyed by some of the decision making by the officials, I guess.
What you're actually seeing now, Kiltie's getting a lot closer to Mandron now, which is causing a little bit more pressure with the centre backs.
Here's Maida trying to link with Johnston. Johnston clips the ball to the back post, headed away by Bolton, only as far as Taylor. Now to McGregor, but 30 yards from goal, out to the left of the penalty area. Swung in dangerously by Bernardo there. And now it comes to O'Reilly as the initial header was played away, but Celtic will come again. It's O'Reilly infield for McGregor, midway inside the St Mirren half. Out to Yang, his first involvement after 57 minutes, just coming on the pitch. Celtic coming forward on the left hand side, and it's Taylor out to Bernardo and back to McGregor. Nawrocki will join in now, coming forward from the back. Celtic are 1-on-1 at the back, should St Mirren be able to get it forward, but they're struggling to get hold of the ball as Maida turns and goes for goal with the left foot, but it's a weak shot straight at Zach Hemming. 57.5 played, St Mirren 0, Celtic 2.
Yeah, it was a fairly weak. I think the keeper's just got to get his body in line of the ball, and it was an easy take for him. Lovely touch.
That was a really nice touch, as Danny says, from Scott Tanzer there, and it's Kiltie attacking the Celtic backline. Can he get the shot off here? Well, he tried to do so. It's blocked by a couple of Celtic legs as he backed off, and Kiltie.
That's certainly more encouraging.
Corner kicks St Mirren.
Yeah, Alistair Johnson's defending there in a 1v1. He just backed off right back into his box, and then he can't tackle.
Yeah, it frustrates me that, Packy. You know, when you're confronted a winger or a full back 10 yards outside the box, and you drop, and then you make your tackle, and if you get it horribly wrong, it's a penalty.
Corner kick then from the left-hand side to be taken by Caelan Boyd-Munce. A deep one. Mandron gets the header down. Richard Taylor trying to make something of it. Scales pokes it clear, and Celtic can come away, and it's McGregor who picks up. He's forced back away those. St Mirren looking to keep the pressure on. They played well at the start of this second half, you'd have to say, with a man down, but making a fist of keeping themselves
I'd like to
in
see
the game.
Gogic go all the way with him there, Packy.
Here comes Yang at the other end, though, left-hand side, low ball in. Zach Hemming gets down to push it away initially. Picked up by O'Reilly, left-hand side. Yang once more goes back the way to McGregor. 30 yards from goal, plays it square for Johnston. St Mirren got plenty of bodies back now as Celtic look for a third goal. It's O'Reilly out to the left to Yang. Yang takes a touch, gets to the byline, cuts it back. Chance here for Bernardo. Can he get the shot off? Surely he can. Oh, it's a great save by Zach Hemming. Richard Taylor threw himself at it as well, but I think it was the keeper who got the decisive touch to knock it away as Celtic look for a third, but denied on this occasion, and it remains after an hour. St Mirren 0, Celtic 2.
I'll tell you what, two really good saves. Initially, when Celtic broke up the pitch down that left-hand side, it was a great cross from Yang in round about 5 yards out from goal, and he picked up a great position so he could deal with the near post and deal with the cross, which he did, and then the final save, that almost reaction save to knock the ball over the crossbar.
Yeah, St Mirren's showing a real bit of character at this minute in time, Packy.
Here's Bernardo though, finding Greg Taylor. That's a great finish and a terrific goal for Celtic to make it 3-0. Delightful clip over the top of the St Mirren backline from Bernardo, and Greg Taylor with a sumptuous side foot volley. Composed finish from the fullback past Zach Hemming, and it's surely game over on the hour mark. St Mirren 0, Celtic 3.
After two saves like that, Packy doesn't deserve that, but you've got to, the quality of the ball with Bernardo, and you spoke prior to the game, Packy, about Taylor going higher and going down the outside.
Yeah, and Bernardo then showing the quality where he can actually hit that penetrating pass. Always, if you can't go through people, you go over the top. Yeah. And that's exactly what he did there. But it was the run, the pass, the movement, the timing, and of course, gives Celtic the third goal. But nobody closing Bernardo down, and they're down to 10 men, of course, in Mirren, and that's a danger.
And it's probably coming St Mirren's best spell of the game.
Yeah.
Greg Taylor's second goal of the season, and it is confirmed by VAR, and Celtic, as the guys say, St Mirren had done well at the start of this second period, but find themselves now trailing by 3-0, as I think Celtic are going to make some more changes. Here's Tanzer into the Celtic penalty area, away by Greg Taylor, and Celtic can come forward on the counter as the Portuguese Bernardo.
Right foot.
Kyogo almost latching onto the ball through there, but it's gone all the way through to Zach Hemming. Yeah, Tanzer had an opportunity there, Danny. You felt he should have taken it on his right.
Yeah.
As it looks like Lagerbielke.
Has he got a right foot?
Lagerbielke and Abada coming on here. So Abada returning from injury. We saw him come on for the closing stages of the Old Firm game at the weekend, and he's now going to get a few more minutes, almost half an hour in fact, for the Israeli. And Lagerbielke, who again has not seen a lot of game time, but is going to come on for the last 29 minutes or thereabouts as Celtic come forward looking for a fourth goal. It's Yang left-hand side up against Fraser, hits the byline, and it's going to be a goal kick. In fact, Yang was looking for a corner, but it will be a goal kick and an opportunity for Celtic to make these changes. St Mirren, I think, considering a change of their own, as we get the Celtic changes first.
Yeah, Lagerbielke is coming on, and you know, he's the one now that probably has position, giving him an opportunity here to see how he gets on in the remainder of this game. But he's obviously not one to risk. Nadowski, who's done well over the 2 games that he's come in, just slowly getting him in. He's got now this break to get him as match fitness up again, or more training into those legs. Maeda also will be probably, is Maeda in the Japanese squad for the Asians?
Yeah, good question, Pag. I don't think so. I think it's only Hatate, isn't it? But
it's really a strange one now. But I know Hatate's a quality player, but he's been for so long.
Yeah, difficult one, isn't it? But the man, good game management with Brendan.
Yeah, I should have checked that actually beforehand, but I certainly knew that Hatate was named, but might have certainly been in and around the Japanese squad in recent times, as Yang plays the ball forward into the penalty area for Bernardo, out to the left-hand side for Taylor, swings it into the 6-yard box, away by Tanzer. St Mirren trying to get up the field, but it's also difficult to do that. They're being hemmed in by Celtic.
Yeah, the thing about Celtic also now, they'll be looking against a 10-man St Mirren team, 3-0 up. They'll be looking for more goals, and goal difference will be an issue for them, no doubt, in this league. It could be in this league.
Yeah, it could be. There will be an 8-point gap going into the January shutdown, but Rangers do have those 2 games in hand as Abada slips and allows Richard Taylor to take possession deep in his own half. He's giving the ball away to O'Reilly, which is not an advisable thing to do. Kyogo now picking up possession, now out to Greg Taylor, who's got the 3rd goal of the game. Back with Kyogo, who'll be looking to get himself on the score sheet. Now Abada, right-hand side of the box, forward for Johnston. Johnston cuts it back, no Celtic player can connect, and it's knocked out of play by Boyd Munce. But it could be a long last 25 minutes or thereabouts.
Yeah, when you look at Mandron there and Taylor on the ball, you know, he's looking for an option, a lot of space in behind there, and sometimes you're just looking for a striker to run into that area just to release this bit of pressure.
It's a St Mirren debut for Elvis Buomono, who's come in. Well, he signed a few weeks back, but this is clearly first appearance, having joined from Icelandic football, actually, at Ugandan international. He's coming on for Flynn, and Mandron is being replaced by Jonah Ayunga. Just looking, I guess Stephen Robinson has to freshen things up and try and ensure that this game doesn't completely run away from St Mirren in the sense of the scoreline. Clearly the points are already gone as Lagerbielke takes a poor touch and Ayunga gives chase, but he won't keep that in. But it is a chance, Packy would think, for Lagerbielke to try and impress, because he's clearly miles down the pecking order right now.
Yeah, he is, and listen, he hasn't impressed so far. He obviously had to come in at a very difficult time and put straight into the team, but when you're a centre half, you've got to show confidence, you've got to you've got to make an impact, yeah, he's still got to show the fans that he's got a future here. He's a young man still.
Here's Yang going for goal, pushed away by Hemming. Yang trying to get onto the rebound. Gogic though dispossesses him inside the penalty area and plays it away. Scales picks up left-hand side. There's Buonomo, who's a right wing back. Certainly that's the position he's been signed to play. It has been a troublesome area for St Mirren with Ryan Strain out with a long-term injury, and it means that St Mirren have a bit of cover at last. A player who has played most of his football at Southend United and makes his debut for St Mirren this evening as Abada picks up for Celtic. 66 minutes played, St Mirren 0, Celtic 3, and it has been an impressive evening's work so far for the champions. Here's Yang once more, looking to get to the byline. He's just not quite managed to keep that one, and it will be a St Mirren goal kick. But the last stages of this game, Danny, are going to be tough for St Mirren to try and just ensure that Celtic don't rack up a bad load of goals.
Yeah, even so much so, you know, they'll be hurting, you know, on the way that the game had started, and you know, 3-0. I think you want to go in damage limitations. You know, you don't want to go in the... I've seen Celtic, I've been on the back of it myself when I was manager here, you know, on heavy defeats. And you don't want to take that momentum that they had on Saturday, going in and conceding more. So really showing a great deal of character here in the last stages of the game.
Celtic have it halfway line,
but Celtic don't look like letting up. You know, the amount of bodies they get in the box, yeah, incredible.
Still going for it, 3-0 up with quarter of the game yet to play. Here is
their intensity is incredible, Packy.
Yeah,
Celtic.
Yeah, and that's what I think makes them a really good team, and very few can match them, because they've got the technical ability, because they've got you know, the way that Brendan wants to play, that sort of 4-3-3. But as soon as they lose the ball,
here they come again. Kyogo with a header wide. You expected the net to bulge. He rose and hung in the air, and you thought he was going to find the ball back across Zach Hemming, but it just went wide.
Was he up maybe just too early?
I think he almost did everything right, back across the goalkeeper into the side netting, but just the wrong side of the post. He's got good contact on it. His movement again, just finding that little bit of space in the box, and then the cross was exceptional into him. But he really should have scored. Celtic probably missed the two best chances, the two headers today.
So still 3-0 Celtic with just under a quarter of the game to go. Richard Taylor again using his right foot to pretty poor effect and conceding a throw-in over on the far side as he tried to find Womono, and I think he'd be well advised to try and keep the ball on his left when he possibly can. As Celtic take the throw-in, as O is about to be introduced for Celtic. You'd imagine that would be for Kyogo, who's just passed up his best chance of the game, certainly. Here he is once more at the edge of the box, trying to link with Bernardo, but can't do so. And it looks like Hatate is also going to make his entrance in a few minutes after missing a lot of football, and before he certainly departs for the Asian Cup. Played from the left-hand side by Ayunga, but no St Mirren player getting in there. Looks like there's just been a bit of a tweak in the St Mirren lineup, in the sense that Gogic is now
moved further forward.
Centre of the park, Fraser's come into right centre-back with Womono playing that right wing-back role now. Remember, they're down to 10 men.
Change of personnel, but no real change in tactics.
No.
Here's Abada, though, trying to hit the byline.
Good defending, son.
It was good backtracking there by Greg Kilty, I think it was it Boyd Munce getting back there just to see off Abada before he got the cross in. And it will be Kyogo who is replaced by O for the final 20 minutes or thereabouts.
The quality that Celtic's bringing on is incredible, isn't it?
Yeah, well listen, the man that I think the fans and everybody want to see back is Hatate in that middle of the pitch, and you know, he's had his fair share of issues this year from an injury perspective. I'm not sure if he'll close people down. He'll just get on the ball and ease himself into it. But I think he probably has to show that he can get back into the team today somehow and play before, if he's called up to a Japanese squad.
Definitely.
I don't think Brendan would be too pleased if he goes without even playing a game. But I will give him games.
I think Brendan would be happy if he stays.
Yeah, well, he's on for Bernardo as O replaces Kyogo. We've got just under 20 minutes to play here. It's St Mirren 0, Celtic 3. Celtic, I think it's fair to say, coasting to victory now. 2-0 up after just 6 minutes through Maidan O'Reilly. And when Olasanya was sent off in first half injury time, you felt the game was done and dusted. And Greg Taylor's second half volley to make it 3 seems to have confirmed that. Celtic just passing the ball around and keeping it at will as things stand, with Johnston out to Abada. He looks to return it to the Canadian, cuts it back. O'Reilly couldn't make anything of it. Gogic manages to take a touch and then get it clear to this left hand side, and it's Kilty keeping it in and bringing St Mirren up the park, looking to get a goal back and give themselves something to cling on to, but he's run into trouble in the shape of both Abada and then Lagerbielke. He plays it forward for O now at the angle of the box, right hand side, touches it back for Abada. Abada back to the halfway line for Scales. Scales out to Greg Taylor, the scorer of the third goal. Back to Scales once more, just in the edge of the centre circle, into the feet now of O'Reilly. O'Reilly back to Lagerbielke, and now out to the right hand side for Johnston. Johnston takes a touch, fires it in. Hemming can't hold it. Abada has another terrific save from Zach Hemming. Just threw the right hand up and kept out Abada from close range as he denies Celtic a fourth goal. Celtic, they'll come again. It's Hatate just about 20 yards out, clips it out to Johnston, right hand side, looking to deliver another dangerous ball, this time for Hatate. Couldn't bring it down, and St Mirren survive. Ayunga now takes the ball in and tries to play it to Tanzer. Lagerbielke though, they're ahead of him, and St Mirren finding it oh so difficult to keep the ball right now. Still they trail by 3-0.
Yeah, it was a really good save again from Zach Hemming twice. You know, the first one again has to come off his line into an area where sometimes you can get exposed, but makes good contact.
Johnston with another dangerous ball in, and it's Womono at the back post, just knocking it behind for a Celtic corner. But
that was a terrific ball.
2 or 3 times he's got in that position in the last couple of minutes. And this time it will be a corner.
Kilty's put some shift in this afternoon, so he has, but feeling it a little bit now.
Yeah, understandably, as Celtic wait for a ball to be delivered so they can take the corner kick. They're away over on the far side waiting for the ball. Hatate knocks it out to that Celtic left-hand side where the corner's going to be delivered from. 16.5 plus stoppage time to play, and Celtic looking for more goals before the evening is out. O'Reilly into the penalty area. Hemming at the second attempt just gathers that at his near post, and it does remain 3-0 for Brendan Rodgers' side. And I guess Packy, he'll be a little bit disappointed at this stoppage is coming right now, the winter break, because they have been building the momentum over the last 4 games.
You could say that, you could argue that, absolutely, but in saying that also, he's used the break really well when he was manager in the past, and they've come back like a new team at times, with an intensity, with the ability on the ball, but that almost like refreshed players. So he'll use it again, I would assume. I'm not sure where they're heading off to. Will they go back to Dubai?
No, they're not. They're not going away this time. They're getting a few days off, I think, to spend with their families. Brendan Rodgers was saying, and then just coming back into Lennoxtown rather than go abroad as they have done previously. But certainly, as you say, they've come back looking very refreshed after previous winter breaks, and they're looking good right now with a 3-0 advantage, a quarter of an hour left to play in Paisley, and St Mirren will remain 5th in the league as they have been on the end of a bit of a footballing lesson this afternoon. Here's Hatate just at the edge of the penalty area as Celtic look to make the lead even more commanding. McGregor now about 35 yards from goal, out to the left hand side. It's back with McGregor now. Infield it comes to Hatate. Hatate will go for goal, and he's not too far away from finding it. It took a nick, and it will be another Celtic corner. 15 to play. St Mirren 0, Celtic 3.
He's such an easy player on the eye, isn't he, Hatate?
Yeah.
You know, he's come onto the pitch now. I said he would just play himself into it. He's good on the ball. He's passed it, simple passes. He's tried his shot now on target, and he just looks as if he's never been away.
He's hungry.
Short corner taken this time. It's McGregor now picking up into the feet of O'Reilly. Now Hatate about 35 yards out, goes for a goal again. That's blocked at the edge of the box this time. Comes back to Johnston, and now Scales midway inside the St Mirren half. Plays it square to O'Reilly. O'Reilly gets it back from Taylor. O'Reilly once more, to the goal scorers linking up. Ball into the penalty area is picked up by Tanzer though. Tanzer tries to get away, but he can't properly connect. Hatate tries to feed it to O'Reilly, can't quite connect with it, and cleared as far as McGregor. McGregor out to the right hand side to Johnston, back with the Celtic captain. Plays it square for Taylor, who's already been on the score sheet with the 3rd goal. McGregor once more. Now it's Abada. Abada's got Johnston outside of him, almost in the byline, and it comes again. Another terrific save, and another from Hemming to deny both O and Yang in quick succession at the near post. Well, but for Zach Hemming, this could have been a cricket score, but it remains St Mirren 0, Celtic 3.
Yeah, and they're all double saves. That's the point.
Yeah.
You know, the first save, he gets a block, he gets back up on his feet quickly, makes another block to keep the ball out of the net. Really good goalkeeping.
Celtic have made very good decisions in that final third to the second half. You know, very, very congested in the middle area. You're seeing Hatate coming on and trying to strike, but you're seeing the real success coming from the wide areas, playing around St Mirren.
St Mirren change just ahead of this latest Celtic corner with Alex Grieve coming on for Caelan Boyd-Munce. The corner kick from the right hand side then taken by O'Reilly. Oh, it's a great ball, and it's off the post from Scales. Oh, he rose so well at that near post, but just clipped the outside of the post of Zach Hemming, who was beaten on that occasion. But to his relief, the ball clips the post and out for a goal kick, and it remains St Mirren 0, Celtic 3.
You can't have a free header there, Packy.
Nobody got up high, and you know, normally you know, I've seen him develop that part of his game. Actually, Scales also, you know, if you were overcritical of him, maybe that would, for a big guy, maybe that wasn't his. But I've seen him actually develop that in the last number of games where he scored his goal, of course, from a corner. But that today was that particular one there. He got real height, attacked it well, got his timing right, and was so unlucky he came off the post. You're right. Listen, from St Mirren's perspective, you shouldn't be given free headers in the box.
St Mirren coming forward down the right hand side. It's the substitute Grieve.
And that's the thing with Celtic, the goals are coming from all areas now, aren't they?
Yeah, they've got threats all over the park, haven't they? They lead by 3-0 this afternoon or this evening with 11.5 to play. St Mirren have the throw in on the right hand side, more or less on the halfway line, to be taken by Fraser.
And as much as it's been a disappointing afternoon for St Mirren, you know, you've got to look at the bigger picture. You know, they've been in the top 6 from last season, the end of last season there, and they've remained in there the first half of the season and still do so after the day. So you can certainly see the improvements, you know, that Stevie Robinson and his staff have made, you know, and they'll welcome that break also. Regroup, recuperate, you know, and let's see what the second half of the season brings, as that's the sprint part of the season, Packy. That's the business end of it.
Absolutely. Here's a Younga up against Scales, tried to knock it past him and then get him involved in a foot race, but Scales was able to get his body in the way.
That's the other part of the game. I think he's making better decisions now defensively, Scales. You know, he didn't really dive in there. He just stood up and hoping that the player was going to hit the ball against him, which he did.
Yeah.
And he stepped out.
Celtic have it back then. Just over 10 minutes left of the 90 plus injury time as Abada picks up against Tanzer, comes in field at the angle of the box. It's McGregor, fires it square to Taylor, about 30 yards from goal, out to the left hand side now for Yang. He was denied just a few moments ago by Hemming, gets to the bylines. Pomono trying to hold him up. He gets back the way though to Taylor, who stands it up into the edge of the 6-yard box. Taylor gets the header as far as O'Reilly. Now Abada for Johnston. Johnston now clips it in, and it's Pomono getting back there with a good defensive header. And St Mirren get the free kick for the challenge that came in on Elvis Pomono. And St Mirren can just relax for a few moments. They've been under heavy pressure over the course of this evening from the very get-go. You'd have to say Celtic playing with terrific intensity, which Brendan Rodgers has demanded of them and was lacking up until recently, but they have certainly answered their manager's call for better performances from the very start, and that was certainly an evidence here this evening. Here's Abada into the penalty area, cross goal it comes, it's going to come back to Abada. Hemming makes the save once more, and it's eventually knocked away as Abada got a second bite at it, and when the left boot hit it really straight at Hemming, but still a decent enough save from the goalkeeper. Here's Johnston, right hand side for Celtic, finds Abada inside the penalty area once more. Hatate also tried to take it on, but neither could really make enough of it as Taylor comes out from the back but can't link with a Younga, and Celtic recover it once again. The possession stats heavily in favour of Celtic as 10 men of St Mirren have struggled to cope with them. Here's Johnston coming forward for Celtic as they look for number 4 of the evening. Into Abada inside the penalty area, just rather screws the cross into the arms of Zach Hemming, and with 81.5 on the clock, it's still St Mirren 0, Celtic 3.
Yeah, he had a chance here, Abada, for that one that almost came back to him. Second attempt, he just almost thought maybe somebody was going to tackle him, and he took it on too early. He had all the time in the world just to even control it and side-footed past the goalkeeper, but he just took it on first time, and it was easy for the goalkeeper. But yeah, listen, lots of chances in this game, you've got to say, from Celtic's perspective. Do you put it down to misses or really good goalkeeping? I would say goalkeeper.
Yeah, I thought the goalkeeper, I thought Hemming's been absolutely fantastic. Some big moments, big saves, you know, and really kept his team, you know, at 3-0, so he has.
Abada's ball into the box is cut out by Fraser, and then Tanzer finds Kilty left hand side. 7.5 minutes left of the 90. Hatate chasing down.
St Mirren have been a lot braver on the ball the second half.
Here's Gogic as he picked the pass for Kilty. He has left hand side. Kilty with a bit of space, gets his head to the initial pass and then brings it under control from the left. Can he find a teammate? It's not a brilliant ball in, and Lagavilka able to clear it away at the near post for a St Mirren throw-in down near the corner flag as they look for a consolation strike towards the end of this game. Tanzer will just leave the throw-in for Richard Taylor to come forward and take.
I think when that ball was played into the right back, Celtic's right back position, 2 tired players, guilty of it earlier in the game, he would have drove into the space, but his legs were going, and then Alistair Johnson was trying to get back, his legs were going.
Here's Richard Taylor's throw in. Again, he's not getting quite enough purchase on it, but Junga trying to make something of it. It breaks though off Lagerbielke for O'Reilly, and then Hatate out to the left-hand side for Yang, who should be able to keep that in play and motor forward down the left-hand side for Celtic, who've got 4 up in support of him, with Abada also arriving late on. Here's still Yang getting to the byline. He's overrun it in the end.
Well done, Goggins.
Disappointingly for his teammates who'd made up the ground to collect the ball in the penalty area, but Yang couldn't deliver it. Gogic, as Danny's pointing out, sticking with him well and seeing it out of play. It's a goal kick to St Mirren, who trailed by 3-0 with 6 minutes left.
You've got to say, St Mirren against a team like Celtic today, when they're on fire, but you're down to 10 men, you've got to give great credit to those players that they've stuck to their task. Tried to play a little bit of football in the second half, but defended well. Yes, 3-0 down, but other teams would have just packed it
definitely. Gogic, he's a great leader, leads by example. Kiltie, his energy is through the roof.
Alex Grieve almost giving the ball away. In fact, Celtic have picked up just caught there by his Grieve, managed to atone for his error and get back and make the challenge, and it's back with Zach Hemming, who overarm sends it out to Tanzer, looking for a Junga, who's done well to bring it under control under pressure from Lagerbielke, the substitute, on to partner Liam Scales for the closing half hour of this game. Now it's Tanzer once more, forward for Kiltie, who has put in a tremendous shift. Good ball down the channel as well. Johnston makes a really good challenge, because it looked like a Junga might be in there, but Johnston summoned up the energy to get back and make the sliding challenge, and Celtic have it back with 5 left. They lead by 3-0. It's O'Reilly just inside his own half, plays it square to Scales. Scales comes over the halfway line, gets it back from Taylor. Coming forwards from the back, it's Liam Scales, just nudges it to his captain McGregor, who quickly gets it onto Alistair Johnston, out to the right hand side for Abada up towards the edge of the penalty area, back with Johnston, and now McGregor, who'll spin away from Gogic and get the pass off to Scales, who takes his eye off it, but it comes to Taylor, and then back with Scales again. Ball forward for Hatate, still midway inside the St Mirren half, out to the left hand side for Yang, and back with Scales once more. He'll bring it forward with St Mirren try and get up and halt Celtic's progress, but it's O'Reilly on the edge of the penalty area, battling away. Taylor goes in with a 50-50, but comes out second best, and then the ball's played off him by Fraser. It'll be a St Mirren throw-in with just 4 minutes to the 90, and you really feel that St Mirren just would welcome the full-time whistle any time now to just put them out of their misery this afternoon. They've worked so hard to keep the scoreline down, but it was always going to be a Celtic victory after those 2 goals inside the opening 6 minutes.
Yeah, it was an uphill battle after the initial 4-5 minutes of the game, Alistair, so it was, but credit to them, and even after just before half time, you could see a little bit of intent coming in. Stevie said stern words at the half time, and the third goal has come at a time where I felt it was St Mirren's best spell. Marcus Fraser was making inroads down the right hand side there, getting a bit of quality into the box. When the third one goes in, there's no doubt Henning's kept him in it. You've got to give a lot of credit to Celtic in and out of possession today. They've been absolutely fantastic. I'm looking at Johnson down the right here. He's overlapped, he's underlapped. He's not had a lot to do defensively, but right in the 87th minute there, when he has to defend, does it proper. Signing good players, but for me, as I said there, St Mirren, you've got to look at the bigger picture. You've got to look at what they've achieved over the last 6 months, hitting that top 6, now competing in the top 6, and that's certainly where they want to stay.
Yeah, for sure. Stephen Robinson guiding them there, a top half finish for the first time since 1985.
Yeah, he's done an incredible job as Stevie.
Here's Johnston picking up possession as Greg Kiltie slid in to try and rob him, but Celtic have it. It's O'Reilly for Taylor, and out to the left hand side for Yang as they look to add to their tally late in the game. 2.5 minutes left. It's Taylor square, 25 yards out for O'Reilly. Now McGregor, left hand side is Yang. Poor first touch, but it's Hatate actually bringing it under control midway inside the St Mirren half. Now he's going back the way, but he plays it to Johnston out to the right hand side to Abada almost at the goal line, right hand side back to Johnston, looking for a way through. this packed St Mirren back line. Square for Taylor, back with McGregor once more, 35 yards from goal. Abada now, can they find an opening to present them with the fourth goal? As McGregor to Taylor, might fancy another goal himself, into Johnston. Can he find room for the shot? He can. Oh, it's just wide from Johnston again. It's taken a touch from us at Mirren body. I don't think it was a keeper on that occasion, but certainly the referees awarded the corner. But it looked like Johnston had found room for the shot, which he did, but he dragged it just wide with the aid of a deflection, and it will be a Celtic corner, which have taken just too quickly for the referees liking. But you felt that was going to be the fourth goal.
Yeah, listen, passing their way through St Mirren, two little 10-yard, 5-yard passes just to get inside the box, and then Alison Johnston, you put your house on him to score right in the middle of the goal, knocks it, but it did seem to take a deflection.
Celtic have taken a corner now. I think there might have been a quick VAR check taking place just prior to that. As Hattati picks up, but it's a lovely pass. Now Taylor inside the box. Oh, and the flick there from O. Goes behind for a goal kick. It wasn't too far away either from O, as he tried the little elaborate back flick, but doesn't quite come off from the Korean striker. And in the final minute of the 90, it remains St Mirren 0, Celtic 3.
It's another very close, but the wrong side of the post. He does try a little flick, and that he's desperate for that goal, isn't he?
Goal kick taken, and the fourth official, Craig Napier, standing ready to show how long will be added on. St Mirren looking for a low number, you suspect.
Yeah, you go back to Stephen Robertson. He gets so much out of his players. When you think about it, a team like this, 3-0 down, 10 men, could have easily packed it in, and Celtic would have just hammered up the goals, but they've stuck their task. They're working across those three in midfield, never give up. He's obviously had to change it a little bit, but he's getting maximum effort out of these players, especially from a defensive perspective.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that, Packy. The character that they've shown, particularly this second half, has been absolutely incredible. To match the intensity that Celtic's had, they're still getting out there, they're blocking, they're defending for their lives, so they are. And Stevie, knowing Stevie, he'll be very, very disappointed, but again, he's got to look at the bigger picture and what he's done, and not just the moment. Yeah, well, you can look to learn and improve from where you went wrong today, etc. And you want to go and compete against the best. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah, I think it's the early first 10 minutes of the game.
Yeah,
because
I think that's
because he didn't deal with the players between the lines.
Yeah,
and he didn't. You've got to say on the left-hand side, Tanzer he could have deepened himself a little bit, not get caught with Maeda in behind. Those are early decision makers that ends up. If you don't get them right, you end up in a situation that they were in.
And I think when you're playing against the top teams, Packy, you've got to play yourself into the game. You've got to give yourself that opportunity.
You've got to last the first 20 minutes at least.
Definitely.
It's the ball's in the possession of Zach Hemming, who came off his line to take a Matt O'Reilly cross. 3 minutes of stoppage time to be played, incidentally, and we're already a minute and a half into that, as Celtic cruising, as they have been really throughout this second half, to victory. 3-0 advantage they have, and it could have been more, there's no doubt about that, as Joe Hart, who's been a spectator for most of the game, certainly in the second period, hasn't been troubled at all by the 10 men of St Mirren.
I've really enjoyed Callum McGregor's performance this second half. He's had so much of the ball, and if there's any youngsters out there watching it, and how simple he's played the game today, Packy.
Good run by Yang on the left-hand side. Hemming gets to the near post and pushes it away before a Celtic attacker can capitalise. And Celtic looking for a very late fourth. We're into the final minute of the 3 to be added on. Here's a bad on the edge of the box. Leaves it for O'Reilly. O'Reilly onto the left foot, blocked by Taylor. McGregor just nudges it down, as Danny says, always keeping it simple. But at least he makes it look simple, Danny, and that's the key, isn't it?
I think that's the hardest thing to do, is to keep the game simple, and that's what great players do.
I've got to pick up on the goalkeeper, Zach Hemming, today also. He's did a really good game, but what I've been really impressed with is the way that he actually has covered that almost 6-yard box.
Yeah.
Balls played in there. There was balls played in almost 5 yards out, and he's covered not just, as I said earlier, his near post, but he's also covered. You can easily stick on your near post and somebody else's.
Yeah, you usually want centre backs dropping into that packet, don't you?
Yeah,
but he handles it well.
He takes that extra half yard out, and that's good. That's good goalkeeping, because it gives the defenders an opportunity then to go and press a little bit higher up.
He's quality.
There's a full-time whistle. Comprehensive and comfortable victory for the league leaders, who go 8 points clear once more going into the January break. They played 2 games more than their closest rivals Rangers, but they were always streets ahead in this one after going 2 goals up inside the opening 6 minutes. Dyson Maeda had them ahead inside 60 seconds, in fact, after he was played inside the penalty area and tucked the ball beyond Zach Hemming. And then a little more than 5 minutes later, Bernardo found O'Reilly, who sent the ball past the St Mirren goalkeeper to make it 2-0 inside 6 minutes. Nawrocki passed him a big chance just before the half-hour mark to make it 3 before, on the stroke of half-time, St Mirren were reduced to 10 after Toyosi Olasanya went in high on Joe Hart. He was initially shown a yellow card, but after the VAR, Stephen McLean advised David Monroe, the referee, to come and have another look at it on the monitor. He changed his decision and sent the St Mirren striker off, and after that it was always going to be an absolute mountain to climb. So it proved. They only conceded 1 more goal, to be fair to them. They worked ever so hard, St Mirren, but Celtic had already done the hard work, you feel, and but for Zach Hemming in goal, who made some terrific saves, not least from Owen Yang, and a double save midway inside the second half. But already Celtic had moved 3 in front when Bernardo clipped a lovely ball in for the onrushing Greg Taylor, who struck the volley past Hemming, who was unable to keep that particular one out. That was 3-0. That was an end to the scoring. Liam Scales hit the outside of the post with a header from a corner. Celtic, with some better finishing, could have run up a few more goals and were denied on a number of occasions by Zach Hemming. But as they go and salute their visiting fans away to our right-hand side, they will go into the winter break with a healthy advantage at the top of the table, and no doubt will strengthen as the window goes on. Joe Hart going in to, I think, give his gloves to a fan in there at the far end. The Celtic fans will go home happy. St Mirren fans likewise applaud their team off, grateful for the effort that they put in, but ultimately they were no match for Brendan Rodgers' side. It finishes in Paisley, St Mirren 0, Celtic 3.
The Scottish